Sorry, hello. Pushed the wrong thing. That's okay. How are we today? Hello, Marissa. Hello, Martin, Kevin, Pia. What's up? Bianca, what's up? Salad Faux Girl. Hello. Master Dave. What's up, old friend? Who else is here? Liduli Joe. Brett is here as well. And Jason. Hello. My hair is getting out of control. I'm thinking of growing it out. I'm not sure if I should do that or not. Usually I rage quit growing it out and just like chop it off. But I'm giving it a second. No technical issues for now. Well, I skipped the last bit of the opening. That I would call that a technical issue. But that's okay. Thank you for letting me know that you can hear me indeed. The person who's supposed to be letting me know haven't been coming around. I hope they're okay. What's up, Ben, the vegan farmer? How are you doing? Okay, so people will attest that I've been bursting into joyful crying for the past couple of days, including on live stream yesterday. And it's because like this thing came to my attention that is happening right now in some places in the world, that makes me think that we are winning. Okay. By we're winning, I mean the animals. Obviously, the animals might get a break in this one animal abuse sector that I hope we can get there. I hope we can reduce and then completely eliminate the animals who are exploited for this one specific sector, and that is dairy. Since the beginning of this channel, I've been talking about how dairy is going to be the first thing to go. And time will tell. I do not have a crystal ball. I do not have an ability to predict the future. But I can be joyous about this thing that is happening in the dairy sector, being pushed by the dairy sector, as we're going to read now, and that is fermented dairy, which exploits zero animals. It is 100% vegan despite being actual milk protein, and the potential of this thing not only for the production of food but also for the other things that this can create in the world that could be so positive, coming out of an industry that is finally understanding that they cannot continue to do this. Probably not because they care about animals, right? Probably not because of that. But for other reasons, they probably are starting to understand that breeding, feeding for 1 to 1.5 years for no return at all, forcefully impregnating, taking away the babies, killing the babies, and then milking the living shit out of those animals is not the best economic and environmental return. And they're starting to move towards fermented dairy. Let's start reading, right? I'm only showing you a little bit. This is an article by The Economist. Thank you, Tone, for giving me this article. We're gonna ask questions while reading this, and we're going to seek answers as well, right? Because I want to be very careful about my hope. I am feeling hope, but I don't want to feel false hope. And I'm starting to cry again because we are winning. Animals are winning. Animals are going to be left alone, at least in the dairy sector, which is what I'm hoping for. Okay, so 7 fermentation companies paving the way. A bit of a dad joke pun there that I don't appreciate, but also if this way is vegan, then I don't care. To a cow-free dairy industry. And finally, we can see something that resembles a depiction of an actual cow when associated with the dairy industry, right? Okay, following our recent summary of producers making alternatives to casein protein, so they already been talking about this for a while, and we know for a while there has been vegan, identical to dairy whey protein powder. We had vegan influencers promote it as well, like trying it out, promoting it. We've known that this is happening for a while, right? So now what we're talking about is actual dairy replacement at this point, and not just the whey protein powder, which is important, but incredibly important for the gym bros and stuff. But it's not food, it's supplementation. And as such, it just goes just that far, right? In replacing basically a byproduct. Whereas here, we are talking about replacing the actual product. So below is a roundup of the companies using cutting edge technology to make whey proteins with microbes, bypassing cheese making to retire cows from the dairy business. Now, don't get discerned. A few of those things on the list are going to be about an actual product and not just the whey. So whey proteins derived from the whey of the liquid portion of milk that separates during cheese production are known for their rapid absorption and high branched chain amino acids, which play an essential role. Let me just make this bigger for you guys so that you can read it along. Which plays an essential role in muscle growth and recovery. I mean, we do have soy protein, and if we stop breeding cows and feeding them the high protein soy meal, then we can flood the market with soy protein, which is, when it comes to growing muscle, even according to the IAS score, which seems to not work in the human beings. Anyways, it's gonna be comparable, if not identical, to whey. They have been widely used in the last decades as ingredients in protein powders and bars targeting athletes, right? We love soy here, we do, absolutely. Joe, keep us surprised on your endeavors, like actually tell us how it's going. Yeah. So whey proteins include beta-lactoglobulin, alpha-lactalbumin, immunoglobulins, bovine serum albumin, bovine lactoferrin, right? This is the usual way, right? And lactoperoxidase. Precision fermentation companies mainly produce a bioidentical version of the most abundant of them, beta-lactoglobulin, to craft the next generation of cow-free dairy. This protein offers gelling, foaming, and emulsification properties, providing the mouthfeel and texture of ice cream, soft cheese, and yogurts while enhancing beverages. Right. So we're now going through the breakdown of the 7 fermentation companies. Okay. Which endeavors? The endeavors that you are dealing with right now. I don't know if I can disclose this highly important thing that you are doing right now, Joe. But if I can tell everybody here what you're actually doing for the first time ever. Let me know. Okay, so Perfect Day is situated in the US, and apparently it's creating dairy ice cream without the cow, and I can't stress this enough. Dairy ice cream without the cow. Yeah, Joe is making seitan for the first time from the washed up flour method. Thank you for letting me, giving me the permission to tell everybody. Especially my hero of this, yeah. So, the leading player in the field, Perfect Day, was founded in 2014. They've been doing this for 12 years as Moo Fry. Why do they want to do the puns? I don't understand. And rebranded to Perfect Day. Good, because that was a terrible name. In 2016, after the founders Ryan Pandya and Perumal Gandhi, I hope I'm saying all those correctly, found a study by dairy scientists that discovered cows produce more milk when listening to the song Perfect Day by Lou Reed. I'm smelling people who love cows. I'm smelling not just a commerce incentive, but also an ethical incentive. The company's whey protein debuted in 2020, claiming to be the world's first precision fermented protein. The protein first launched with Perfect Day's commercial arm, the Urgent Company, in various products, including Brave Robot Ice Cream and California Performance & Co.'s protein powders. I'll give you the link to this article in a minute, so that if you want to find those foods and you want to purchase them, you can, okay, if you're in the US and stuff. So, but Perfect Day sold this company to food tech innovator Superlattice to focus on scaling production and expanding partnership with large CPG companies. Multinational companies such as General Mills, Mars, and Nestle have trialed the novel protein, but have discontinued or stopped their efforts. I wonder why. But again, don't get discouraged. We'll get to the thing that made me cry a little bit later in this article, okay? On the other hand, Perfect Day's GRAS whey, GRAS, I've just been searching what it stands for. I do know this, but I forgot all of a sudden. GRAS is, no, that's not it, not architecture. It's relating to food. It's an approval. GRAS stands for generally recognized as safe. There you go. It's an approval for food, right? Novel food needs to get JRSAS approval in order to be sold to the human consumers, right? So, so their whey has been introduced in other consumer brands that are enjoying success. Tomorrow's Farm animal-free milk brand, Bored Cow, is available in all 50 US states. So if you live in the US, you can get an animal-free actual dairy milk right? If you're interested in such a thing, animal-free dairy milk, identical when like on the molecular level, and strife-free milk recently was served at the Miami Open. I don't know what that is. I don't know if I care enough to check. Unilever's, so one of the huge company, all of those companies, look at them. They are investing in this. Sometimes they're dropping off, right? But whatever their name, General Mills, Mars, Nestle, huge companies use shitload of dairy in their products, right? They are, I think they are mostly distributors, but they are also producers, right? Of dairy. They put that dairy in the products. Unilever, there are, I just never know if I'm saying those words correctly, but never mind, right? Also a huge producer, a huge distributor of food, junk food, chocolate, ice cream, all of that shit, right? So they have an ice cream brand called Breyers, has launched a new lactose and cholesterol-free product made with animal-free whey protein. So this product exists now on shelves, standing there somewhere, is vegan, and look like you could go, if you're in the US, I guess you can go and buy this ice cream. Fantastic stuff. Turtle Tree, what's with the names, guys? Terrible names. Turtle Tree is in Singapore and the US. Just as a side note, in order to become a worldwide distributor of a certain food, you need to go through regulations specifically in certain countries, right? Because those countries, once you're regulated, open, like once you are considered safe and ready to distribute and stuff like that, in those countries, you then can enter other markets of other countries much, much, much more easily. Singapore is one of those countries where if you seek regulation and you get regulation approval, you will then can enter almost any market in Asia. So almost all regulatory approval of novel foods in order to enter Asia has to go through Singapore. So yeah, and the US also acts similarly to the countries around it, right? Because it has a pretty, well, it had a pretty good regulatory system, and now it's being dismantled, which is unfortunate. But I hope my friends in the US can survive that anyways. Dave and Willow are fighting about something. Cool. Singaporean biotech Turtle Tree has obtained the world's first self-GRAS. Again, GRAS is generally recognized as safe. Status, generally recognized as safe, it says it now, Jesus Christ, from the US FDA for LF+. I'm not sure what LF+ is. Let's check that out, all right? The plus lactoferrin made better. So lactoferrin plus, that's the name of their type of protein that they're using. A precision fermentation derived lactoferrin. Okay, so lactoferrin is said to be one of the most powerful proteins in cow's milk. It benefits human health, improving immunity, iron regulation, digestive health, and physical performance. Before my friends in the chat are starting to think, what, dairy, healthy? Yes, right. It's highly immoral, but it is quite healthy, especially for gastrointestinal health, for people who are not intolerant to it. Sorry. So, it also aids endurance, fatigue resistance, muscle strength, and energy efficiency. Turtle Tree produces LF+ for infant formulas. This is what I'm talking about. It starts with food and then it continues into other areas where dairy is used. It's being replaced. The cow dairy is on its way out, right? So plant-based dairy and sports nutrition products, including protein powders, functional beverages, meal replacement alternatives, and multivitamins. So it seems that they went for the sports market and the infant formula markets. Those markets are highly lucrative to companies like this because they generate much more revenue than dairy, right? Just like regular food, they generate so much revenue because those are luxury items, basically, right? Yes, infant formulas included, unfortunately. So, in first commercial partnership with, we'll see LF Plus launch in functional espresso under the brand Cadence Performance Coffee. So they're trying to make super duper health promoting coffee, which is interesting. That's that company. I wish they would spread like a little more into actual just like fucking drinks, right? Well, they do have functional beverages in short. This is like, I'm not incredibly familiar with this market, right? So we're learning as we're going. Vivici, the Netherlands. So, right. Dutch precision fermentation startup Vivici has successfully scaled its platform focused on producing beta-lactoglobulin. Vivici aims to supply leading F and B brands, I don't know what that, searching for sustainable whey proteins to meet the growing demand for animal-free, sustainable dairy products. So I think when they say whey proteins, I think they just mean milk proteins altogether, right? And not just whey, which is the discarded part of cheese making. Again, I'm not incredibly familiar. Maybe they're correct, but it seems to me that saying whey proteins instead of milk proteins, for instance, is a little weird in this case. But let me blow my nose and I'll be right back. Sorry. Okay, sorry, I apologize. Still sick, this fucking virus. Holy shit. So DSM and Fonterra founded the precision fermentation company in 2022, leveraging decades of experience developing and scaling bioprocesses. With this background, Vivici can expertly isolate dairy protein in the downstream process and design applications to support its future clients with formulations using these bio-identical whey proteins. So these guys seem to be are not on the market yet. I wish them the best of luck. Bon Vivant. I hope I said that anywhere close to correctly. I have zero French knowledge. So, French biotechnology company Bon Vivant claims to be one of the few companies producing whey and casein proteins using precision fermentation. Claims to be one of the few companies producing whey and casein proteins using precision fermentation. Well, one of the 7 apparently. This sentence makes no sense to me. Of course, they are the innovators. They are at the forefront of this shit. Okay. Okay. This competitive edge positions them to meet the specific needs of food manufacturers in the growing plant-based dairy market, as casein is mostly used for cheese. So this is like, as vegans, we all know, what is the one thing that people are truly fucking addicted to? It's cheese, isn't it? They want the fucking cheese. And hopefully, in the next few months, years, I hope, in the next decade maybe, we can make, by we I mean the royal we, can make actual zero compromise, casein supported, bioidentical cheese that will not only sell to all the cheese breeders that are incredibly addicted to it, but also to vegans, because this is going to be vegan. Yeast or bacteria, in this case, I think yeast produced cheese that is identical to the unethical slaughtering, exploiting, graping product, industry that produces this product that everybody wants so much, right? So last year, the company secured 15 million, is this euros, in funding to develop and commercialize its proteins, a significant achievement in a dairy cheese loving country. However, I don't like hearing that. The company targets the B2B dairy alternative market. What is B2B dairy? B2B. B2B. What is B2B? What is B2B? Bro, what is B2B? B2B refers to the business to business sector. Oh, I got you. So farm to restaurant type situation, right? Business to business. Thank you. I appreciate you, Jason. So alternative markets, specifically in the United States. So this is important, but this shit should be in the stores, shouldn't it? So Vivo aims to help the industry meet the dual challenge of the growing demand for dairy products while limiting the environmental impact of its production. And the animals, let's not fucking forget the goddamn animals. The shit-covered, vagina-bleeding animals. Sorry, had to be said. So, Daisy Lab in New Zealand. So this is at this point in so many places, including in New Zealand. This is cool as fuck. So Daisy Lab is a female-founded startup headquarters in Auckland. It was founded in 2021 to produce sustainable dairy proteins. In the last year, the startup has scaled its process for beta-lactoglobulin and discovered three-way protein expression system using yeast. In addition, the startup has been researching casein for cheese making and lactoferrin. Cheese making. This should be our primary thing. Cheese and yogurt, I think, are the way most people interact with dairy the most, right? Yeast is totally based. Joe, from the start of this fucking channel, the first time I went live on this channel, I think, the first or the second time I went live on this channel, still as a cow, I was banging on about yeast saving the world, that we should move all of our, like most of our production of food towards yeast. Yeast will save the fucking world, I've been saying for 4 years now. I'm a dumbass, but these people actually can make it true. So, the startup has created prototypes of ice cream, yogurt, and cream cheese to demonstrate that fermentation-derived proteins can make the same dairy products that consumers love so much that they are willing to compromise their ethical security. Let's just call it that. Recently, the startup received approval from the Environmental Protection Authority, EPA, to expand its dairy protein platform to 5,000 liters, a milestone that will help the company install a pilot facility to scale its whey protein production for future dairy-free products. Now, we reached the thing which I have been crying about, because not this article, but a different article found me in the timeline. I do have like a curated Google suggestions type situation where most of the shit is like farm bullshit. I haven't been looking into it much, but 2 days ago, I opened that suggested on my phone, and the news about Remilk came up. Again, not this article, a different article. And I've been crying ever since. So, Remilk, they are situated in Israel. Politics aside, guys, we're talking about the animals here, okay? Israeli biotech company Remilk. By the way, finally, a good fucking name, in my opinion. But I might be biased towards this being the first thing I have seen about precision fermentation of dairy. Has obtained Health Canada's letter of no objection. The US FDA's generally, what was it called? Generally, why can't I remember that? Generally regarded as safe status and regulatory approval in Singapore. So they got the bifecta of US, Singapore, and Israel for its novel whey proteins made with precision fermentation technology. Remilk, founded in 2019, has received over 120 million in funding to advance its innovative technology for producing dairy proteins, eliminating cows from the production. The thing that this article doesn't say, and the article that I was reading did say, is that a huge chunk of this funding comes from one of the biggest dairy producers in this country. I don't remember the name of the producer, but they are one of the biggest dairy producers, suppliers in Israel. They have been funding this company. The thing that this also doesn't say, that this product is already standing in shelves in supermarkets in Israel under the name of another different, very big dairy company as well. So one dairy company is basically financing the production of this, research of this milk and the production of it. And another company gave it its name to sell it under its name as dairy. And that's the thing that blew my mind. Somewhere afar, there is a supermarket where this bottle stands, and the dairy consumers can buy it, and it has the legitimacy of true dairy because it has the name of the dairy supplier. So the dairy companies, the dairy distributors, or the dairy producers even, are the ones making this change, which means the actual farmers, right, are going to be unhappy. They're going to have to make a split decision, I think, right now, and get out of dairy and continue working with this dairy company through providing the feed for the yeast right? For instance, right, one of the ways that a dairy company can switch is by starting to grow the feed for the yeast that produces this dairy product, cow-free dairy product. And those that are not going to make the switch right now, in the next year or so, they're going to get bankrupt. That's how capitalism works, because the dairy distributors are stepping out of the cow business and stepping into the future, into the yeast business. And that is tears-worthy news to me. I agree, Lord. I agree. I said, politics aside, two things can be true at once. Okay? We can be sad about one thing and happy about another thing. Sad about one victim and happy about the sparing of another victim. The future is complex, and we have to think about all of those things to keep it complex, because black and white thinking is the thing that is responsible for what you are talking about. And we should avoid doing that, finding ourselves in black and white thinking. Yeah, I hope you join me in being sad about one thing and happy about the other thing. Yeah. Well, Jason, I fear this as well in the US, but meanwhile, the products already exist, it seems. I think when this will start expanding, companies that produce whey protein that don't do what Remilk did, seeking partnership with the actual dairy distributors, I think they might fail. I think that's another reason why we should look at what Remilk is doing among everything else, because they are not going after the lucrative business of whey proteins and gym bros and all of that stuff. They're not going after replacing the byproduct. They are going after replacing the product, and they are making partnerships, and they are still seeking partnerships with the actual dairy distributors and producers. And that is the smartest thing that I've ever fucking heard. And this is why they might be successful. And if the US businesses don't do that, they might get bulldozered over by the same conglomerate that they could be partnering up with, right? I don't know. What the fuck do I know? I'm just a fucking dumbass. Those people are smart, it seems to me, right? Okay, so according to the company, precision fermentation not only addresses ethical concerns, I smell vegans again, but also boasts significant environmental benefit. Less water, land, and greenhouse gases compared to traditional dairy production. So that's, they don't even get a picture, but I did find their site. The site is weird, but I did find it. Another one from the same place on Earth, right? And it's called Imagine Dairy. Meanwhile, Imagine Dairy, founded in 2020, aims to transform the dairy industry with sustainable animal-free alternatives. The startup leverages precision fermentation technology and AI to create dairy proteins through microorganisms that are far more efficient than cows, converting feedstock into proteins at a 20 times faster rate. Doesn't Lord Ronnie, doesn't seem to me so, because the article that I was reading was stating that since January 21, so only a month ago, this product has been in just regular supermarket stores. That's the thing that I'm excited about. Any carnist on planet Earth walks into this supermarket chain are going to see this dairy-free dairy that is, by the way, I think I read, it has like reduced lactose. It has like different flavors. It has a biodegradable bottle. It's twice as much expensive right now, but that's okay. We're going to reduce those prices, or they're going to reduce those prices. It's fine. We all have to start somewhere. And now finally, right, if this happens in every country on planet Earth, we can tell the people, poor animals, but cheese though, we can send them to buy actual dairy that didn't involve cows, and hopefully very soon actual cheese that didn't involve cows. That's my hope. Okay. I wonder if they're gonna complain that no animals suffered for this. Yeah, some will, I suppose, but we must keep our heads up. If I can ever get this fucking milk where I am, I'm not gonna test it on live stream, because we all know that's gonna be a catastrophe. But I'm sure as fuck I'm gonna try it. Hate dairy, so I hope like flavorings exist in whatever I can get, because I always hated the taste of milk, despised it. But I'm gonna try it, and I'm gonna buy it specifically to fucking support the company, right, and see what happens. High weight, what protein comes from milk? Where did they get the whey? Produced bioidentically by feeding yeast instead of cows. That's how they got it. Yeast, when you feed them specific foods and specific yeast, when you feed them specific foods, they produce, excrete, so to speak, specific molecules, right? We've known this for genuinely fucking decades, that yeasts, certain yeasts, are capable of producing proteins. And this thing targets the genes that allow specific yeasts to produce very specific proteins, okay? So this is a vegan product identical to dairy. This is what it is. Literally no animals were involved. 0 animals were involved. This is not even taking the cells or the secretions of animals and doing something with that. 0 animals were involved. I love this shit so much. I've been, again, crying and joying. It's been like absolutely joyous for the past couple of days. Right. Let's finish with this last one, right? This is number 7. So, 20 times faster rate of conversion of feedstock into dairy. Its ultimate goal is to achieve price parity with traditional dairy products. Fucking finally, the last 2 companies, maybe like the ones before that as well, are not trying to go after the boutique products. They are going for the throat of the industry. They are going for the main product, and I fucking love it. And I'm fucking excited about it. Absolutely fantastic. This is how vegan alternatives should go. They should go after the main products. Sorry. I'm still so sick. Holy shit. So, making this sustainable alternative accessible to everyone. The company's potential has attracted significant investment. It secured $13 million, is it, in a seed fund round in 2021, followed by an investment from Danone. Danone, one of the biggest food distributors on planet Earth, a multinational food distributor on planet Earth, gave them the seed money. So the companies who are distributing this shit, they are interested. They are so interested that they are dropping millions to produce this food instead of continuing to buy cow food. How fucking cool is that, guys? We're gonna win. We are winning. And if you are not excited with me, I don't know what's wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. You're fine. I'm just like that excited. So, followed by an investment from Danone Manifesto Ventures, the corporate venture arm of dairy giant Danone, in April 2024. Imagine Dairy has also obtained a US self-affirmed, generally, what is it? Every single time I forget. Generally something. Generally, GRAS. Generally recognized as safe, I think it's. Generally recognized as safe. Right. Status for its animal-free way, opening opportunities for new animal-free dairy products in the US. I hope they win. They should fucking win. Recently, it partnered with Ginkgo Bioworks to develop even faster microbes. Jennifer Whip, CEO at Ginkgo Bioworks, shared at the time of the announcement, I can speak for the entire team when I say that the samples that Imagine Dairy has shared are absolutely next level. If the rest of their pipeline is anything like what we've tasted, we can't wait to try what's next. That's it, guys. That's the excitement. The excitement is that the people who are responsible for the atrocities that are being done to cows in the name of consumerism, those are the people who are now moving towards a vegan, dairy identical product. They are funding this. They are putting their name on this. And dairy farmers should be scared and should be getting out of dairy now rather than later. Because if they do it later, they're just going to lose their shirt, frankly. They're going to lose everything that they own. The dairy sector should be thinking level-headed and stop breeding cows and start producing literally anything else, including making contracts with those companies to produce the feedstock. I love GMOs as well. Let's end on that. We love GMOs. GMOs are gonna save the world. GMOs are so good. Okay. So, the thing that I'm asking myself now, what could actually the dairy farmers do, right? So one of those things could be producing the feedstock. Others just like selling the land for real, and going retiring in Boca Raton somewhere or something, whatever is the equivalent of that in Israel, whatever, you know. But how, I guess, could we use the facilities that already exist to facilitate, quote unquote, this change, to help this change? And I was thinking, right, every dairy product, every milk molecule is going through the pasteurization facilities, right? Pasteurization and distribution facilities. The amount of regulation that's happening there is varies by country, I suppose, right? It wasn't there a story that in the US, the regulations of milk pasteurization have dropped or something like that. Is not as strong as it used to be. That's what I remember anyways. The facilities should be in cities, in industrial zones areas. Well, I think fermentation is generally, it requires quite a lot of mileage, I think, to produce, because all of those tanks, all those huge fucking tanks, right? So as usual, I wanted to use the AI and ask it a question, right? Let's see if we can. So this is DeepSeek. People who are against AI, this is the most efficient AI. It doesn't produce images, it doesn't produce videos, and it runs incredibly quickly with very little energy use, very little water use, right? But it also, you don't ask it about China because it's gonna be biased. Anyways, this, let's ask it what can be done with the dairy facilities. Specifically, what I'm looking for is the pasteurization facilities, because they are already highly mechanical, have shitload of tanks and shit. So I'm thinking, is it possible if a wealthy vegan, very wealthy, we're not talking about regular level wealthy, a very wealthy vegan stumbles onto my stream, unlikely, but if that happens, and they're asking, VPM, in your expert opinion, how can I help? How can I use the immense amount of wealth that I have to make this happen faster? I would say, well, I wonder if the pasteurization factories can be converted easily and relatively cheaply without sacking a bunch of people into a fermentation facility. They already have tanks. They already have stainless steel fucking floor, wall to wall. Let's see. Let's ask it, right? So, I have a milk dairy pasteurization facility. I would like to convert it to, it's gonna tell me no, VPM, you're dumbass, no you can't, but let's see if that happens. Convert it to precision fermentation facility to produce precision fermentation dairy instead of pasteurizing milk. Okay. All the equipment that I have, can I use some of it for precision fermentation without the need to buy new stuff? My favorite word. Let's see what it says. Converting a dairy pasteurization facility to precision fermentation is a complex but potentially viable idea. It's blowing smoke up my ass, I'm sure. based on the available information, you likely cannot use your pasteurization equipment for the core fermentation process itself, but a significant portion of your downstream processing equipment could be highly viable and reusable. All right, so yeah, that's cool. Where are they burying people after they pass away every year? What? What if we eat humans from McDonald's? I don't know. That's probably a rumor. I mean, it's similar. You're eating similar beings. You're eating similar beings in McDonald's. I don't know why everybody is upset about humans. You already eat animals, and humans are animals. So I don't know about that stuff. Okay. Vegan human body meat. Joe. I like you. All right. So this is a strategy being actively explored by companies to reduce the massive capital costs of building new precision fermentation facilities. I'm a fucking genius. Where is Alpha Karos to tell me no, I'm not? He always brings me down to earth. Okay. Let's break down what equipment might be reusable and what new investments are necessary. So probably the tanks, the fermentation tanks look very specific way. We're going to ask another question after this, because I think we can take another place that deals in animal exploitation. And I think that place can be repurposed way better as a fermentation facility, way better. So if you are a multi-billionaire vegan listening to me, let's go through this entire endeavor and see which investment is better. Okay, so cross core processing, fermentation versus pasteurization, the central process of precision fermentation, growing modified microorganism in a sterile environment, is fundamentally different from pasteurization. Obviously, I know that, which is a heat treatment to kill pathogens. Therefore, your main pasteurizers are unlikely to be suitable for the fermentation stage. Pasteurization equipment. This equipment is designed to heat treat milk to eliminate pathogenic flora. It is not designed to be strict sterile for the strict sterile conditions, oxygenation, and long duration cultivation required for fermentation. Fermentation equipment, bioreactors/fermenters. Precision fermentation requires a specialized tanks called bioreactors or fermenters. These are stainless steel vessels, but with critical features your pasteurization tanks likely lack, such as precise control systems for parameters like pH, dissolved oxygen and foam levels, sterile air-gas supply to provide oxygen for the microbes while maintaining sterility, specialized agitators designed for gentle but effective mixing without damaging cells. Cells need a little bit encouragement sometimes, I know that. With specific tip speed controls, aseptic design, features like sterile seals, ports for inoculation and feeding, and the ability to be sterilized, often with steam before use. However, there might be an exception for many tanks you have that are specifically designed for culturing bacteria, such as starter culture tanks for yogurt or butter production. So we can buy a yogurt plant instead, right? As one supplier notes, a maturing fermenting unit designed for yogurt production can handle both heating and cooling for controlled fermentation and shares many design features with a basic fermenter, stainless steel, double jacket for temperature control, agitator. If you have this specific type of vessel, of course I do. Right there. It's standing right there off the camera, I promise. It might be adaptable, especially for simpler anaerobic, non-oxygen dependent fermentations. The level of control and sterility required for precision fermentation would still need to be carefully evaluated. High value reuse, downstream processing equipment. This is where your existing dairy facility holds the most potential value. Downstream processing, separating and purifying the target protein from the fermentation broth, accounting for massive 70% of the capital and expenditure of a precision fermentation plant. So 70% can be saved by buying a pasteurization facility and replacing the pasteurization tanks with more with actual fermenters. But once the fermenters has done their job, and what you need to do is separate the solids from the liquids and so forth, you can use the equipment that already exists in the pasteurization plant. How cool is that? All right, so the equipment used for this is very similar to that used in dairy processing to make products like milk powder, casein, and whey protein. The key equipment you may already have that is highly relevant includes centrifuges. It's probably pretty large centrifuges used to separate microbial cells from the liquid, similar to separating cream from milk. Filtration systems, critical for concentrating proteins and removing smaller molecules, much like processing whey or milk permeate. Evaporators used to concentrate the protein stream by removing water, a standard step before drying. I don't know why my nose keeps running. Sorry, guys. What do you mean? This is existing food. This is food that you likely have been drinking your entire life. That's how it's produced. It's produced with the same machinery as the food that I'm promoting, right? Except no cows were graped. Just saying. And dryers, essential for producing shelf-stable powdered protein product identical to making milk powder. So probably those companies are making this precision fermentation, letting the yeast do its thing and excrete its thing. And then they purify it, taking away the molecules that shouldn't be in there. And they are probably drying it to make it shelf stable. And then when you want to produce actual milk or ice cream or whatever the fuck, you rehydrate the thing, right? And then put it in the supermarket, right? That's how it works. Yeast poop. It does indeed. But the best thing about yeast in comparison to other animals, well, the best two things. One, it's not sentient. Two, it doesn't fucking move as much. So it's much more efficient to feed the yeast, let it excrete the thing that you want to then eat, than feeding a bunch of food and water to the cow, who then turns it into 1/25 of food. Terry, you're kind of weird. Usually I'm okay with weird, but you're kind of weird in a bad way, I think. I'm not sure, though, what you mean by that. But okay. I think you have like a lot of conspiracy theories running in there, but that's okay. It's totally fine. So, strategic path forward, blah, blah, blah. So the challenge, building in precision, the opportunity, your facility, downstream processing equipment could drastically cut overall project costs, 70% in fact. So it would be much, much better instead of building a facility from scratch, just buying one of those pasteurization facilities. And yeah, unfortunately, the farmers are going to be upset. But maybe it will spur them into action of stopping producing dairy. Right? Okay, so that's that. And then, what if instead of using my pasteurization pasteurization facility. I'm going to preface this. When a slaughterhouse eats an animal out of existence by slitting their throat, only about 40 to 60% by weight of that animal can go into human food. Let's just say it like that. Another 40 to 60% accordingly, or 60 to 40% accordingly, some of it goes into biohazard bins and other things like inedible offal, genitalia, others, skin, and other bits and bobs of animals that humans don't generally want to eat. Goes into the bin that then is sold for like 55 cents per kilogram or something like that to a rendering facility. Now, the rendering facilities, they look and have the equipment, I think, right, we're going to ask it in a second, that is much more similar to fermentation stations. So I'm going to ask it, what if instead of using pasteurization facility that I own, I buy an animal derivatives rendering facility and try to repurpose that into a dairy fermentation facility. Would that allow me to use more equipment for fermentation instead of buying new equipment? Oh, what the DeepSeek is going to think of me. It's going to think I'm immoral. I owe all of these facilities that exploit animals. Jesus Christ. Okay. So, excellent question. DeepSeek is trying to butter me up. It's a very strategic pivot to consider. Let's apply the same framework we used for your dairy facility, but this time to an animal derivatives rendering plant. All right. The shit where all the inedible shit goes to become proteins and fats and heated derivatives. Okay, the short answer is buying a rendering facility would likely give you even less usable equipment. What do you know, VPM? Absolutely nothing. For the core fermentation process than your dairy plant would, but it could offer a significant advantage in one specific area. The bioreactors themselves, yes. What if you buy both? However, this comes with major caveats. Oh, one second. Because I did see, I was reading about the rendering facility today, rendering plant. Let me see if I can find the thing that I was reading about today. Yeah, I was reading this. And I looked at those things and I said, holy shit, are those bioreactors? Holy shit, are those bioreactors? And so we continue. Core processing, fermentation versus rendering. Rendering is a process of physical and thermal breakdown, cooking, grinding, and separating animal tissue to extract fat and protein, meat and bone meal. This is fundamentally different from the aseptic controlled cultivation of microorganism in precision fermentation. Rendering equipment is incompatible with aseptic fermentation. Alas, we're going to have to buy a pasteurization plant instead. The core of a rendering plant includes grinders, cookers, dryers, and presses designed to handle solid, high-fat, high protein animal matter. These are not sterile environments. They are open, high temperature, high pressure systems built for breakdown, not for the delicate contamination-free growth of microbes. Okay, let's switch the bioreactor section. This is the most interesting part of your question. Some rendering facilities use equipment that is technically called a bioreactor or hydrolyzer. These are large cylindrical heated and agitated vessels used for processes like hydrolysis, alkaline hydrolysis, and composting biogas pre-treatment, blah, blah, blah. Could these be converted to precision fermentation bioreactors? The potential is low, but there is a comparison to the future. Well, it just sounds like a bad idea. Worse idea than buying a pasteurization thingy. Okay, so if you are a multimillionaire who is also vegan in my chat, come, let's hang. I have many ideas. If you're not, this is the article. You can read it. You can see if you can find the products where you are and maybe buy them and taste actual dairy for the first time in years, if you're into that kind of thing. But if you're not into that kind of thing, buy it anyways for your dairy munching family members and friends, right? And see if you can open a discussion there surrounding dairy fermentation and the unethical process of producing dairy. Guys, I have nothing else to say. I know it's a short one, but I think it was very informative, hopefully very hope-inducing a stream. And yeah, I don't know what else to say, Pia. That's why I sign off so fast. Because once I've decided to go, I just want to go. All right? Thank you, everybody, for coming. Please hit like. Share this stream with somebody who might want to find this interesting. Yeah, let me know what you think about it in the comments. And I appreciate you all. And I'll see you next time.